Welcome everyone. It's learning and saying again. Today we have our speaker, Zeng. Let's give Zeng a round of applause. Let me explain how does learning by saying works. It works like this. We do have a Facebook. First of all, we do have a Facebook. It's called Learning by Saying. You can go to our Facebook, give us a like. And then what you can do after you give us a like, you can sign up with us. And then what you do is that our program, Learning by Saying, is actually we allow speaker and participants to learn something from the speaker. And where does the things come from? It's from book that the speaker has learned, have read, and it's from also seminars or some good materials that the speaker have learned and would like to share with the general public. And why do we have this movement is because we know that through a study from a study zone, maybe you want to talk about the studies from some research.
Yeah, so the research in the early 70s studying the different modes of learning and which one is the most effective. Yeah, it's a hierarchy of learning. It's called a hierarchy. Yeah. So the best way to learn is through experience, through doing. So whatever you do, you already inside yourself. Yeah. So the second best way of learning is through talking about it to teach others. Yeah. And the worst case of learning is reading only. And the second worst is listening. Yeah, like people tell you, then nothing.
Yeah.
So that is the hierarchy. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the research that we found out. So that's why we have this movement. And how it works is that you can sign up with us via our Facebook, and then you can let us know what are the topic that you would like to talk about. We will usually be having this session on every Tuesday, about 9 o'clock to 9:15. So we'll usually start on 9:15, so you can be slightly earlier if this is your first time. And then how it goes is that it's about a 15-minute to 20-minute sharing. How is it? How is the what you call it? The structure goes is that you have about 10 minutes to share, and there will be a timer who will let you know when you reach 8 minutes. So you have 2 more minutes to wrap it up. After you complete your sharing, what we will do is that we allow the floor. That means any participants who have some questions to they can ask the questions to you, post the question to you, and then you can answer them, and then you have an interaction. So it's about 5 minutes for the Q&A session, and then after that, it's completed. So today we have our speaker and also our founder of this Learning by Saying. He's going to talk to us and share with us on the topic by Dao De Jing, chapter 12, Control Desires. So without further ado, let's put our hands together and welcome Zeng. Okay, thank you so much, Zeng. I hand the time to you. I'll keep track of the time as well.
Okay, so thank you, Jonathan. So I will start the sharing with the telling what is the reading this chapter, and then I will explain in 3 ways. One is what does it mean? Second is why is it so? And third is how can we apply it? Yeah. So first with the text. Okay. Okay. So first, 5 colors blind the eyes. 5 tones deafen the ears. 5 flavors dull the taste. The chase and the hunt graze pupils' mind. Wasting energy to obtain rare objects only impedes one's growth. The master observes the world but trusts in the visions. He allows things to come and go. He prefers what is within than what is without. Right? So that is the text. What does it mean? It means that too much sensory stimulation numbs the senses and makes the emotions high. It results in low intelligence and the person will not behave in the right way. So we have 5 senses, right? So the more is too much stimulation to these 5 senses, then it result in the low intelligence. because high emotion. Too much focus on the visuals, the beauty of things, we would be blind. We will not be able to think with clarity. We will not be able to see things objectively. And example of beautiful things like good-looking man and woman, beautiful house, luxurious car or jewelry. Similarly, the 5 tones represent. So the first thing I'm mentioning is to explain the 5 colors blinds the eyes. The second is 5 tones deafen the ear. When the sound is too loud, ears cannot hear other sound, right? Regarding the 5 tastes, this the next one is 5 flavors that dull the taste, right? When we eat the food with too much spices, we couldn't feel the original taste of food itself. We only feel the spice. Chasing and hunting make the mind crazy. Chase and hunt makes the mind crazy. Right? In the past, when we went hunting, like in the past, our like cavemen, right? Our ancestors, we chase the animals. The chase made the mind crazy. Like you imagine you run after the animals, and it makes the mind crazy because it's you need to go search and hunt. Right? That's what Lao Tzu means. Similarly, when we chase the status, rare objects, right, like diamonds or rare objects, or maybe like exotic animals, or we chase the fame and wealth, it will make our mind crazy as well. Like trying to fight to be in the top, try to climb to the ladder and fighting with others. And that one I think is also chasing. We will not have a peaceful heart, and we will have a lot of stress and constantly worry and fear. That is when we decide to chase, then we don't have the peaceful heart and mind. Rare objects usually have the extreme attributes. So I'm explaining what does it mean by the rare objects. For example, like shiny visual, loud sound, spicy food. Chasing these rare objects will make one's conduct unethical, immoral. Stealing, corruption, exploitation are the results of wanting to have rare objects or wealth and status and fame. So Lao Tzu advises us to be content, like eat enough. We satisfy our belly, our stomach, right? When we are hungry, we eat enough, okay. Or have a simple place to stay. Limit the material desires, and do not chase material status and fame too much. Instead, focusing on improving the soul quality. That is more important. Develop the inner world instead of outer world. So when we talk about the chase, all this external stimulation is outer world. Right? So now let me explain in my understanding why is why did Lao Tzu advise us or tell this way? So because first desire for material makes emotion high and it results low intelligence. So you might hear from somewhere else, high emotion, low intelligence, right? We want the stimulation, otherwise life is boring. That's what most of us. We want stimulation, right? It's because the soul quality is poor. When we want to have more stimulation, it means inside is like empty. So the joy and happiness are based on the satisfying the senses. I mean, if we are chasing this for happiness, it means happiness is coming from all these senses stimulation, right? We keep wanting more intense stimulation, because the mild, the gentle stimulation is not good enough. And to seek those experiences, we keep chasing and chasing. Our heart and mind will never rest and have peace. Even after we get the objects, we want more. We will feel empty inside because the sensation won't last so long. We are driven by material accumulation, fame, status, and pride. So let me give you an example. Like I like to eat Indian food, right? Tom yum food because they are spicy. When I eat normal food, I tend to have chili and also lamb, sour, right? Otherwise, I feel doubt the taste. When it comes to food, I am regularly seeking for food with lots of spice and saltiness as well. So I'm out of control, and that in that case I'm driven by my senses, like my tongue, right? And I forget that what is food? What is food? Food is actually first and foremost the important thing is to support my living body, right? It is said that our body replaces the whole body entirely every 3 months. So how do we replace? By eating the food. So that is for me the most important function of food is to replace, to support our body, living body, right? The quality and the nutrition of the foods are more important to my body than the taste or the extreme taste. Right? Similarly, like fast food or hawker food, right, are spicy, but they are actually unhealthy, right? People know that, but they cannot control themselves. People know that if they eat too much like junk food or unhealthy food, it will affect their health in the long term. Maybe cancer will develop, I don't know, 20, 30 years later, for example, right? So there are a lot of study on that, but they cannot control when it comes to food. I mean, it's the immediate satisfaction, yeah, because of the one stimulation. Example is let's say when a boy is only looking for pretty girls, only pretty girls, like he's always chasing pretty girls. He fails to recognize that. Yeah, he fails to recognize that beauty is in the character of the girls, not the appearance, because he's so attracted to the look. So this one is I'm talking about the visual. Not because he's so attracted to the look, he wants to get the girls. He will sometimes does silly actions for pretty girls in his normal mind that he know he won't do it, right? So that is the example of 5 colors will blind the eyes, right? Okay, another example is nowadays people wants to be rich and successful. They chase money. When they become millionaire, they want to become multi-millionaire, then billionaire. The whole life is constant chase, constant chase. During the chase, they are stressed, they don't enjoy their life, and they work like crazy because they're chasing, right? And their mind is crazy because too much stress and worries. They're attracted to materials, they think that they will be happy when they accumulate those, but they fail to see that the lasting joys and fulfillment are in serving others and be content with what we have, right? So how the last one I want to share is how can we apply, or how do I want to apply, is that first is eat simple food but avoid excessively spicy food, excessively, and have a simple and clean place to stay, and don't desire too much in terms of the nice and expensive place, and expensive things like cars, phone, toys, clothes, or branded luxury stuff. Just simple and functional ones will do, right? And but more importantly, is develop the soul quality in terms of, for example, reducing the egos and always find the ways to serve others and to help others, and put the value more on the peace of the heart, in the peace of heart and mind, right? And also for me is I know I also practice meditation because it can look inside inner world as well. Yeah. So that is my sharing. In the summary, 5 colors, definitely eyes. 5 tone, definitely ears. 5 flavor, Dao De Jing, the chase and the hunt creates the mind. Uh, Seeking for right objects only impede the growth. And the master is actually focusing on the inner, not the outer. Yeah. That is my sharing, and it is what I learned from Lao Tzu. It's not my knowledge, but it's his knowledge. I just want to share what I understand. Yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Zeng, for sharing. Wow, every time you share, I got a new understanding and new inspiration. Yeah, and then this time round, I do have some questions for this. What you share is very, very good because I feel that a lot of orders that you share, right? Actually, I am experiencing it myself, especially like sometimes you talk about when egos, when you talk about chasing for taste, chasing for fame. You see, personally, I also experience it. I want a better watch. I want a better house instead of like what you say, right? Looking for a simple life but enriching others rather than enriching your own self or my own self. Yeah, that should be the way. But I do have a questions because
Yes.
you see, like if I understand that some teaching out there, they say that if you chase for, it's okay to chase for materials or to chase for wealth, but ultimately they say that if you chase for those, right, it will also bring values in the that means while chasing it, I will bring values to the world. Because if there is no motivation for people to chase, right,
Yeah.
for this kind of materials, because it has been systemized in such a way that if you want to chase for money, you have to bring values to the world.
Yeah.
So will
Yes.
it be in conflict with Lao Tzu teaching? That means people are chasing materials, but at the same time, they are also enriching other people's life. So when the more he chase, right, for multi-billionaires, the more they chase, right, the more they have the knowledge to how to enrich other people's life.
Yeah.
But of course, there are also other teachings saying that we
Yeah.
should be adding value first and stuff like that. So what's your comment on this?
Okay. So thank you, Jonathan. Yes. For me, okay. First, right, in Lao Tzu in the book, he said, he mentioned one time, when when you serve when you serve when you serve everyone, you get everything. So that's what you mean by just how you mentioned, by adding values to everyone, to people, materially or spiritually, everything, you will be rich and happy and healthy. Everything you will get because of adding value, right? So, but there's also like for me is which is a driver, right? For example, let's say a rich person, right? A rich, very rich person, he can have, of course, in order on the way, the result of him having a lot of money, because people pay him, right? So but there can be also a case where he cheat people money. Let's say in Asian country, corruption is a lot, not in Singapore but in a lot, like Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines, everywhere, Indonesia. So those rich people, they're wealthy, they're changing material, but they cheat, right? They cut corner, they corrupt, they take the public fund, but so the result, they still have a lot of money, right? But then another way is, let's say a businessman, you let's say what do you call, like short term, the person, you try to because there's a conflict, there's the amount of money maybe is kind of limited, or the profit is limited, the margin, right? So the businessman might try to exploit and leave very little value for the customers. Then he keep the larger margin, right? It's possible, right? Yeah. So when the person doing that way, he also get rich very fast, right? Yeah. But then the long term, he may not get the what do you call, it's like whether ethical or moral or not, yeah. And another thing that Lao Tzu also mentioned is the ego. Like what he mentioned is that if a person add a lot of value to others, but he himself, he praise himself so high. Lao Tzu said that all of this, whatever good thing he does for people, is like no value at all anymore. You get me? So it's the, like, for example, it's a rich, very rich, like let's say billionaire, but he is already creating a lot of value for people. But the reason why he create is like a byproduct, but it's a lot is for himself, right? So to Lao Tzu is, he said that to Lao Tzu is, this person is so egoistic, and always talk about himself, always like selfish and always for himself. Then this kind of behavior, to Lao Tzu, he said, is like a tumor in the stomach. Like cancer, we have tumor, right? So he compared this kind of behavior is to having a tumor. Yeah. So what Lao Tzu is saying, that is like belief, like trust the, because whatever he's teaching is not not on his own theory. He is actually observing the nature, and then he derive the lesson. Whatever we say, I'm just saying now, is actually he's deriving the lesson from the nature. Is he call it's actually a Dao. Dao is the nature, right? So the nature is enduring, lasting billion of years already, 100 million of years. Our life is how many? Like 70 years, 80 years. So tiny compared to the eternality of the nature, right? So what Lao Tzu is saying that he's teaching this kind of quality is because that is the nature displaying this quality, yeah. And I mean, like when the person is yeah, I mean, if the person he mentioned that kind of like, do not worry as long as you serve a lot of people with the real intention, then you will get everything. Like people will support, people will make you become king, or people will make you become leader because you are the one who take care for them. You get what I mean? Yeah. A lot of the time, I think in the past, whether people choose a leader or choose a king, they choose the one that not selfish for themselves to just enrich for his family, but they choose the one that fight for the people, right? But in the end, the king is the richest, the most powerful, but the king is the one actually serve the people. I mean, so the same thing I think for people like chasing money is, if the people who chase money, I think it's long lasting. That's what my take. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Zeng. Oh, I think I got what you mean. That means it really based on the intention of what the person wants to chase. For example, if the person is looking out for other people, that means he's chasing, or I should say, is always thinking of adding values to other people's life. So if that person is on for other people's problems to help them better their life, if that is the aim, then the wealth will naturally follows.
It must follow.
It must follow. So
because
so there
when people receive, they have no choice, but they need to take something to give back, which is in form of money or favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in another words, or rather I should say, how about for those people who chase wealth, chase money?
Yes.
Along the way will
Yeah.
create also a lot of values.
Yeah.
There is one teaching I heard somewhere is it's like a precession.
Yes.
The person is creating that means looking out for the family by making money and living and stuff like that. But along the way, a lot of good things happen to the world, you know. But the intention initially was not really to add values, but because of wanting to make money, it also along the way, they have to do something for the world and add values to the world.
Yeah.
Then they will get. So in another words, if we chase money, sometimes value will not be added. Like you have just mentioned, some of the corrupted people or some of the cheats, they look for money but values. But if you go for anyone who is going for values, serving, this one is 100% sure.
100% sure. But
Wealth
it will
follows.
Yeah, 100% sure. And not only the wealth materially, but the satisfaction, because you, like, if you can relate, whenever you help someone, even the person haven't thanked you, you see the person change, or you know, you feel so happy, or if person say thank you, you also feel inside happiness, right?
Yeah.
So the that is a small action, but you see that sense of internal happiness, right?
Yes.
Internal happiness. So what if you build a Eiffel Tower, you build a big building, it's a big project, right? You build a dam that actually help the generation to come. You know, let's say you are an architect, or you are a building developer, or you build a business, like you build a McDonald's, that you know, give jobs to so many people, you give food, nice food, or you know, something. So it is a big thing, you know, like a pyramid. If you build a pyramid or you build those big things, that a lot of people get the value. Then even the, I mean, you see the mountain of gold in front of you, maybe you are more actually happy because, wow, I contributed so much, you know, right? I only eat 3 meals a day, let's say. I have 1 billion. How can I spend that money? Like, you see, Warren Buffett, he give away 90%, 99%, right? $1 billion to Bill Gates, right? Zuckerberg also giving 99%, 40 something $1 billion his stock, right? Then he only keep few hundred million. It's big, but you see, like, they're so rich, they cannot spend enough. But then I believe internally their satisfaction is not the amount of money they make; it is the impact they make. I think that is the inner. Yeah. What I mean is that if lacking that understanding, build only solely for the money, then probably at some point of time, maybe they will feel the emptiness and the hollow. I think because what else can I eat? What else can I do? At spa, what else can I, you know? I mean, after that, what else, right? But then it's the insecure that chase more. Yeah. But without the proper knowledge of actually it's an exchange of value, because not many people understanding of this exchange of value, and they thought that, you know, they try to get as much as possible. Yeah. That's what I understand now. Yeah.
Thank you, Zeng, for sharing. And after having said that, our time is also up. And Zeng, thank you very much for today's sharing. And before we let everybody go, and then I would just want to highlight again, do like us on our Facebook. It's Learning by Saying. Give us a like and also sign up with us. And thank you for today's session. Thank you, Zeng. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, see you. Good
Watching.
night.